And good evening, everybody, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of the DQ Labs live conversations. And today, what we're talking about is the Nata 2021 next steps. Now, the reason why we've brought this up is because there's been quite a few parents and students who've been concerned about what's going to happen next. Um, Quite a few people have been alarmed um, with the results, Nata results, and there's a lot of anxiety that's there with everybody. And what we thought is let's have a session to clear up these anxieties. All right. So what we're going to cover today is the application for the third Nata test, which is in September. The further processes of application to architecture schools. And the third aspect are the options for those who have not qualified Nata in both the first and second tests. All right. So can we go ahead? Please type in a yes in the chat box if you all are looking forward to this. I'm looking for a yes. Please start typing in so that I know that all of you um, are excited to know more about this session, and we can go ahead. And I know that you're attentive. That's more important as well. So, right. So, coming back to this. Now, before we start, um, there are a lot of gray areas. All right. Notifications are changing, information is changing, information is getting updated on a day to day basis. So, there's really many of the aspects here discussed are speculative. All right. And it must be used as a guideline. You need to verify information personally before making any decisions. All right. And um, and uh, to verify, there are certain resources that I'm going to share with you, um, and it's very important that you understand this. Now, application for the third Nata test. All right. Now, very clearly, if you go through the brochure, the latest, most updated brochure, um, what you're going to see is that um, the Council of Architecture has updated the brochure. All right. And now they've said that the third Nata test is available for candidates who are not able to take either test one or test two, right? So if those who have taken test one and test two, they will not be eligible for the Nata third test. All right, you need to make do with your marks. However, it's very important to know that okay, some of you may have done extremely well, some of you may not have done well, but if you go through the notifications, the official notifications, which are available on the Nata website, you will know that 50% of the students who took the second attempt have not cleared Nata. All right, so just clearing Nata this year is a challenge. uh, and if you've cleared data, you've done better than the 50%, better than most of the students, or the majority of the students here, right? But for those who have not cleared Nata, don't worry. We have options for you. We do not want you to fret. We do not want you to be worried. We do not want you to give up on your plans. So stay on in this webinar and we'll come down to what you can do. Um, Very important. Any official information, you have to go through these websites: the Nata website, the JE Mains website, for past year cutoffs for SPAs, NITs, you can go to the JOSA website. All of these links will be updated in the description of this webinar after this webinar is done. Now, the fourth thing is when it comes to application in all states, all right. Um, when it comes to applications in all states, that is, each individual state, for example, Karnataka, there is the CET or the KEA, that's the Karnataka Examination Authority, right? So they will be doing allocating the government, the seats reserved for under the government quotas, right? Similarly, every state will have their own process. You need to be updated with that, find out which is the process in your state, and you need to adhere to that. The next thing is private seats. Now, I've given an example of Karnataka because private seats in Karnataka are also allocated in a secondary method by COMEDK. Now, or each college website may give you the updated information, right? So you need to go through either COMEDK or in your state, you need to look for a relevant authority and apply for those seats that do not come under the government reservation seats. Or you could go to each individual college website that you're interested in. Now, a big, big question here. Are you happy with your Nata 2021 score? All right. And I want you to put your comment in the comment section. Yes, no, not happy, put down whatever you feel. And there's also a question from someone: will this session be available an hour later? The answer to that is yes. This session will be available after this. It's being live streamed on YouTube. After this, you can um, still access this. And I'm getting a lot of no's. Fantastic. I'm getting a lot of no's. Okay. And I've specifically asked this question to you because it's very important that you understand um, what the thought process is. All right. So we're going to start off with a bit of a thought process. Starting off, what do you think this is? All right. I want you all to put down your answers in the comment section. What do you think this is? Please type in your answers. Some of you may know this. Some of you may not know this, but please do type in. I'm looking forward to your answers. Um, and you can say there's no right, there's no wrong. You can say whatever you feel like you relate this image to. um, I'll come down to the questions in a bit. This time cutoff should be really less. Yes, yes. Okay, yes, we're getting some answers. Frank Gary, yes. um, that's correct. So while I've got a lot of answers for this, someone told me it looks like a plane crash. Someone told me it looks like, some kind of a vehicle. Somebody told me it looks like a dead body. Various answers I got for this. But this is actually the first sketch done by Frank Gehry for this particular project. It's called the Guggenheim Museum in Spain. Now, it is a beautiful example to show how thought process is so important. All right. So don't worry about your sketching skills. Don't worry about your Nata score. It is just a bump in the system. All right. But coming back to the Nata score, I wanted to show you how the trends have changed over time. All right. So in 2016, the highest score at DQ Labs was 153. And why I bought that? Because it's very similar to the highest DQ Labs score of 148 in 2021. All right. But the median score, what you need to see is what the median score is. All right. So the median score in 2016 in at DQ Labs was about 120. But in about 2021, the median score seems to be in the 90 to 100 range. Again, these median scores are estimated. Not all the students have given us their scores, but from the scores that we've got, it seems to be in the 90 to 100 range. All right. Uh, but if you look at the all India median scores, again, these are estimates, but in 2016, the median score was around 95 odd, but this year it seems to be in the 75 to 85, 80, 85 range. All right. Now this means majority of the students, where do their uh, scores fall? right? So it seems to be in this range between 75 to possibly 85, even 90, you can say in this range would be the median. All right. But uh, but the point is that don't worry if you're in this range. It's all relative. Every year the median changes and you need to go through that. All right. Of course, you know, when we talk about median, we don't, it's not limited to the highest score or the lowest score. Uh, at DQ Labs, the highest score is by Sana Firdous, DQ Lab student who scored a 148 in this attempt. But we've got, if you go to see the, you know, a lot of the scores are in the, some of the scores are in the 120 range. We have quite a few students there, but majority of the students would be much lower. All right. So coming back to this aspect as to how ranks are calculated. Before that, let me see what um, is there. What are the questions that are coming in? Okay. All right. Right. So now a lot of parents are saying, how are ranks calculated? Did I get a Nata rank? What's my Nata rank? Remember, the terms are very important. You cannot say Nata rank. All right. It's a Nata score, and they use the score to create a rank. All right. Now, different, possibly different boards use different techniques, but to compute the ranks. But in general, okay, if you look at any of the state boards, in general, they take 50% of the Nata score, 50% of the 12th board score. They create a score from the combination and they assign ranks based on that. All right. So, for example, and this is very important that you'll understand this. 50% of the Nata score means not 50% on 200, 50% on 100. So 150 divided by 4. All right. That is the formula. 150 divided by 4, you will get a score. And your 12th board score is divided out of 2. So they combine this to give you a total score. And that score is done in descending order. So the person with the highest score gets rank one, and these are all examples. The highest score gets rank one, and as you go further down, your the rank reduces accordingly. Now, I've put in some extreme examples here to showcase how this calculation is done. So, say you get a 150 in NATA and a 96% in boards, that person is likely to get a very, very high rank. All right. However, on the other hand, you can always play with these combinations, right? So you need to see what your Nata score is. So let's say your Nata score is in the 80 category, but you've scored, you know, around 90% in your boards, and I'm saying a high percentage. You know, again, please do not take this at face value. This is only examples. I've written extreme figures just to showcase to you how this calculation is done and how you can get a rank. All right. These don't mean anything, but it is only to give you an idea. So if you have understood this, please type in boom. I have understood. Just write, type in boom. So that makes me, that hopefully I get to know that you've understood this. If you need any clarification, please let me know, because this is very important. There's a question from Sujita who's asking, what's the highest score of Nata in the second attempt in all India? So, Sujita, no one declares this openly. Nobody knows what the highest is. Um, but we can only tell you that the highest score at DQ Labs is 148. All right. Um, Ishita's saying this time they are not considering 12th marks. They are only said pass. All right. Um, So, Ishita, this is a good question. A lot of other students have asked the same question. Uh, the notification from the KEA, okay, they say they do not specify they specify a minimum eligibility, which is a pass. All right. And this is also not only come from KE, but also from COA. That's the Council of Architecture. So the minimum eligibility is a pass. But to calculate your ranks, they need to use a method. They need to combine both NATA and 12 board scores to create your ranks. So as of now, um, there is still no clarity, but going by what has happened last year, uh, you can take this formula as something that you need to follow. Uh, Samarsh is asking, is it only core subjects or all the subjects? So, Samarsh, another good question. The thing is, this is decided at a state level. Every state board will decide how this is done. So, some of the states take only PCM, some of the states take all the subjects. You need to wait for clarity from the state department to give you that clarity. All right. um, okay, so Tiny Hydra is saying, would an overall of 76 total score be considered good? Tiny Hydra, possible. We don't know, let the ranks come out first. All right. um, Abba is asking, will this be the same method for 2022-23 batch? Answer is yes. This is a standard format. So Comet K, same for architecture, or do we have a separate application? There is a separate application form for architecture under Comet K, so please look for that. All right. Um, Someone saying we've not qualified in both first and second attempt. How can we how can we give the exam again? So those who have not cleared in the first and second attempt, please hold on. um, we'll come down to that. You cannot take the third attempt as per the latest notification. However, I'll give you some options. Wait for a little while and we'll let you know. All right. um, we haven't written boards this time. Are they still going to consider? So Impu, a lot of none of the students have written board exams this year. What they but they have a method to calculate your board percentage. So CBSE and state government has already done that. So we are going to do that. So Venkat Nori is asking, can you explain the 50% score? All right. Um, 50% score. So let me explain this again for those who have not understood. They take 50% of your Nata score. Remember, your Nata score is out of 200. So if they take it, they have to take, if they have to combine and create this total score, they have to make first convert the Nata score into 100, so that they have to divide by 2, and then take 50% of that, which is another division by 2, right? So Nata score divide by 4 and 12 board score divide by 2. That is how you get the calculation. All right. So I hope you've understood this now. Going ahead. Now, your score bands. All right. Please understand that this is very important for you to do. Now, if you have scored less than 70, that means you have not qualified NATA. Don't give up. Look for an alternative. Don't lose heart. That's very critical. And that's why I showed you Frank Gehry's sketch. All right. uh, Remember that 50% of the aspirants of NATA 2021 have not cleared. So please hold on to your thoughts. All right. Wait for the end of this webinar. If you are in the 70 to 90 bracket and estimated 15,000. So in the first round, about 11,000 students have cleared. In the second round, about 11,000 students have cleared. But a lot of students who wrote it the first time have written it the second time as well. So my estimate is that there should be a total of about 15,000 students who've cleared NATA this year. But you may or may not get schools of your choice if you are in the range of 70 to 90. All right. So what I want you to do is be open-minded, right? Be open-minded um, with the choice of schools that you're getting. Okay, look at schools, your the schools that you ideally want, and look at the schools that you may not want. I'll help you with that. Please wait for the end of this webinar. We'll get you to do that. Um, if you are in the 90 to 120 bracket, that means you've done quite well in your Nata. All right. And if you have at 80% plus in your board exams, then it's a even better combination. All right, then you are likely to get the colleges of your choice. So please bear in mind what. So now's the time for you to figure out what colleges you want to try for. All right, or what you want to keep in mind. And if you've scored a 120 plus in your boards, in your NATA, and 90% plus in your board exams, then you're highly likely to get into good schools. All right. So, so set your bar much higher. Look at the uh, look at colleges like CEPT. All right. If you're doing that now, those who have scored less than 70, the options that you need to consider are planning, interior design, digital architecture, built environment. Okay. You also have the option of looking at other creative programs, maybe fashion, maybe design, maybe graphic design or communication design, right? Or you could also, try again next year. So keep all your options open. All right. Um, if you are in the 70 to 90%, 70 to 90 score in NATA, also look at your JEE percentile. In fact, this is important for everybody. All right, those who have not cleared NATA, their JEE percentile would not be considered. All right, so that's another bit of a drawback for those. So it's important that um, you understand but those who have cleared, then your JEE percentile comes in the picture, and then you can possibly use both scores and see which one favors you. All right, now if you are, yeah, and I've already addressed the 90 to 120 in terms of the other things. All right, so now I'm going to um yeah so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause my slides and look at some questions that you'll have. Um, right. Okay. Do we have to write commit case separately for architecture itself, or as it is introduced this year? So please real understand, you do not need to write commit K. You do not need to write not your CET. Only Nata is very important. You do not need to write any other exams, but you need to apply to the relevant board. So you need to apply to Comet K. You need to apply to the CT cell. So that is very important. Has counseling started? No, counseling has not yet started. The processes will be announced shortly. Um, Hold on. Comet K for architectures in November or October. We do not know, Pushpa. Please hold on to that. Wait for the notifications to come down. Abba Ranade is asking, can you please break down the Nata paper structure? So Abba, we have done a webinar on the Nata paper structure. Please go back into our YouTube channel and and um, and look for those webinars. By the way, if you are liking this webinar now, please hit the like button. It's very important for us to know that you like this and this is relevant to you. It helps us understand you better. Um, Also, those who have not subscribed to the DQ Labs YouTube channel, please click on the subscribe button. Very important. We've got a few very, very important webinars coming up this Thursday and Friday. And I don't want you to miss those because those are very interesting ones. All right. Um, so coming back to this questions, uh, would we give preparation for the Nata third attempt? Yes, we will give preparation for the Nata third attempt. So please look out for, be in touch with us. Um, will Comet K exam be the same for architecture students? No, Ankita, Comet K will not be the same. All right. Some colleges are saying that they will give admission if we have non-zero in JEE paper 2. Yes, colleges can do that. However, Sally, you need to make sure, see, clearing Nata is mandatory. Please look at the notifications on the Council of Architecture website. In fact, what I will do is let me open a window. Okay, I'm going to open the window. Sorry, this is nata.in. Now it's very important that you look at these announcements. All right, these announcements are critically important. All right, so announcement of the third examination. Uh, this brochure, the Nata brochure, is now updated. So please look at these available in the um, on the Nata website. All right. So now what I'm going to do is, okay. So now, Sally, you're asking a very important question. The question is, colleges are saying they will give admission if we have a non-zero in JEE paper 2. All right. Now, what I want you to do is come here. Okay. Do a control F and search for eligibility. All right. Eligibility criteria. Now come down to the eligibility criteria. Over here, they are very clear that NATA will be conducted as a comprehensive online aptitude test. Okay. This is a very critical statement. You need to go through this. Um, they've clearly said that um, that NATA is possibly a student has to clear NATA. So even though they may consider the JEE scores, all right, they may consider the JEE score, but that is subject to you clearing NATA, all right. So that is a very important uh, notification that you need to do here. I think revised eligibility. Hold on, this is a very important uh, topic. Hold on. Okay, so if I zoom into this, all right, it says here, as per NATA brochure, candidates, okay, as per regulations, all candidates need to qualify an aptitude test conducted by the council, that is NATA, for admission into BA course. All right. Therefore, all candidates who have passed in any other aptitude test conducted by other authorities shall also be required to qualify NATA. That means even if JEE conducts their JEE test and they take the admissions through JEE paper 2, that is fine. JEE can do that. All right. But you still need to clear NATA. This is a very critical, um, this is a very critical communication. All right. If you look at this communication here, it's available on the NATA website. You come here, it's one of the notifications, very critical to read this. All right. So a school saying that tells you that they will give you admission based on your JEE paper 2 score if you've not qualified NATA. That is wrong. That is a wrong information. You can show this to them, but you have other alternatives which I will talk to you about right now. Okay, let me come back to my slide, and I'm going to take a few more questions now, but I thought that was very important. um, Yeah, so Impu is saying last year they did a combination of NATA and JEE scores. So yes, Impu, in Karnataka or all states, they consider both NATA and JEE score, but they're not very transparent with the formula that they use to convert a JEE percentile into a JEE score. So that becomes a little bit of a challenge for us to really uh, gauge what what JE percentile is good, but it's preferable. What we've seen to get into the NITs or SPAs, the top scores are probably in the 99, 98, 99 percentile, right? That's for the general merit category. So, do you think third attempt will shift the good scores by a lot, or do you think the score spread will remain the same? Tiny Hydra, it's very hard to speculate this, but if I have to guess, I think it would still be challenging. The third test would still be challenging. All right. Mm, so, Gauri, please look at the link that I'm sharing after this webinar in the comments, in the description of this webinar. I'm sharing the link. So please follow those. All right. Um, will the ranks be given in a particular college, or will COA has nothing to do with the ranks? All right. COA will only give you a Nata score. Now, that score is the value of the, of what is written on that piece of paper. That is only a qualification score. Now, using that score, you can get admission. Now, choose getting admission. I will come to that. Into what level? I will come to that. Mm, is Nata mandatory for JE aspirants as well? The answer is yes. Venkat, you're asking a question which is very difficult to say. If your score is 74, what would be your rank? Very difficult to say. All right. Do we have a clear Nata? Do we have to clear Nata? Okay. How many students? How many students from Karnataka had attempt from Nata? We don't know this information. It'll only be clear once the CT cell, uh, you know, publishes the ranks. Pushpa is asking, do CT marks matter? Pushpa, CT marks do not matter at all. Please don't bother writing CT. It is not counted. Okay, a lot of questions are repeated. Um, Sir, when will we get to know the statistics of the second attempt, state-wise, central-wise? So Devaki is asking a question. The only information you know officially is what is released by the Council of Architecture, and they have said that out of the 11,000, out of the 22,000 students that have attempted the second attempt, only 50% have cleared. All right. Um, so some of the questions are repeated. Okay, how does so? Okay, I'm sorry. In between, you all could not see. Okay, Nata's Council of Architecture is saying that those who do not qualify in both attempts can give the third one. No, Nata Council of Architecture is saying that those who are not qualified in both attempts can give third one, but also they have written that only two minimum attempts. What does that mean? Okay, so Sujit SP, can non-Karnataka students apply for CT? No, non-Karnataka students can apply for Comet K. All right. So ArtSpark is asking, am I able to apply for NITs and SPAs and NITs and IITs with Nata score? No, for NITs and IITs and SPAs, you just need to clear Nata. The allotment of seats will happen via the JEE uh, paper two scores. All right. Fine. So I'm resuming my presentation. What is architecture? Architecture is a science and an art. Very important. So architecture relates to buildings. Here we see architect Frank Gehry talking to Mark Zuckerberg. The importance of this is that architects are directly in touch with the top people who run the project, because there's a vision that they have, and that vision needs to be played out, um, made real. And that's what an architect does. But for those of you who have not cleared architecture or cleared Nata, what are your options? All right. You'll have the option of digital architecture. please note, this is a new program in India. There is only one school that has this program in India, and I'm going to open up that school information for you. All right. Let me share my screen. Okay. Now, if you can see my screen, log into DQ Edge. Everyone can log into DQ Edge. Make sure you, if you're not a student of DQ Labs, you can log in. You cannot access the study material, or there'll be less limited study material that you can access. But please click here on this Explore Colleges option. When you click on this Explore Colleges, you can click on Architecture. All right. Now, in this architecture, there are various schools that are listed here. You can reach out to all of these schools directly. One of the more important things that now digital architecture as a course, all right, is only offered by this Acharya Institute for Innovation and Transformation. All right. Now, you click on the details here. You can visit the college. You can find out a little more about this. Please note, we are doing a webinar with Acharya on the 5th of July, or sorry, on the 6th of July, which is Friday. So those of you who have not cleared Nata this year, I would like you to come here and um, the registration link will be placed over here. So please come here and click on the registration link. It's not out yet. It will be out in the next 1 or 2 days. So please um, ensure that you attend that webinar. The details will be put here. All right. Now, the second college that I would like you uh, to go through is Jindal School of Art and Architecture, and I'll tell you why now. All right. So I'm going to go to my next screen. So digital architecture is digital media and architectural design, right? So this is something like this, digitizing your architectural concepts, right? So again, you need an understanding. Acharya has a tie-up with one of the colleges in the UK. Their program uh, is approved by a UK-based university. You do a 3 plus 2 year program. You at the end of a 5 year program, your job is guaranteed. That's what they say. But let them do the talking. Please attend the webinar on the 6th of July, which is Friday. All right. Now, this is just to showcase what digital architecture is. Now, the third aspect is planning and built environment, which is you're talking about science and you're talking about society or community. Now, how do you build a whole city? How do you accommodate for your energy, your drainage, your infrastructure, your roads, your office spaces? Everything needs to fall into place and sync well, right? So um, so this is what you need to uh, be able to do as a planner. Again, a very good option. Now there are two schools that are of importance here. One is Jindal School of Art and Architecture. Now, if you click on this school, um, what happens is they have very interesting programs. Again, some design programs you know and yeah. Now, what I was talking about is this particular program, right? This is a very important program which you can do 3 years. You can do a BA honors program, and your masters you can do with in architecture with over 100 uh, colleges all across the globe. All right. So those who have not cleared Nata this time, you can consider this as an option. Um, we are doing a webinar with Jindal School on Thursday, 5th August, Thursday. All right. So please make sure that you attend this one as well. Now, there's another school that is very important, um, which is Nite School of Architecture. they have a planning program, a very good planning program. So those of you who have not cleared, or those of you who have cleared and are looking for planning as an option, y'all can consider Nite School. It's a beautiful school. So these are the things I can recommend. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my slide, um, and let me do one thing. Okay, let me share my slide again. All right, so what I spoke about is planning and built environment. And the next one is interior and space design, right? So this is Zaha Hadid's interiors. Now these are very um, important opportunities that you have. So very important that you consider these. Now coming back to a few more questions. All right, all right. Let me see. Okay, so those who have not qualified, all right, um, stay positive. Stay positive. Look at other options, and what I want you to do is type out in the chat box, say positive. All right, so that's very important that you'll remain positive. I would like y'all to do that. Type it out because I want you to do that. Look for other options. Um, I- so coming down to the questions. Um, Okay, any separate registration required for Karnataka CET? No, the Ravi Gowda, there is no separate registration that's required. You can use the same, you just register once and that qualifies you for architecture uh, and engineering as well. All right. But that's just an application process. The ranking process is different. Okay, so Sumit is asking, will you give preparation on this channel for daily for third attempt? Um, yeah, so we will. We're starting a series which is very important. It's called a series of E-Meet Your Architecture School. All right, so that is very important. Um, let's see. Let's see. All right. We'll keep you updated. Please do follow our channel, subscribe to our channel, and um, we'll do that. So Mokshit is asking, so I've just contacted the Karnataka CT number. They said for now they will not consider PU marks, but this may change based on government notification. Yeah, Mokshit, like I mentioned, there's a lot of gray areas going on right now. So it's going to be a challenge. We'll wait for the official notifications, but for all practical purposes, to create a rank list, they need both scores. All right. What is the required JE percentile to get into a desired school? So Pushpa, to get into an NIT or SPA, you're looking at a 95 percentile plus, depending on which category you are in. And that's about it. All right. Which are the top colleges in Karnataka CT? Okay. Okay. Um, right. So, which are the top colleges in KCET? All right. So, yeah, so that's an interesting question. Uh, now, Ayan, what's happening is when you talk about the top colleges, let me come down to that. All right. Now, all of you have done your 10th standard, you've done your science. All four options are open for you. All right. Um, all four options are open for you. So you have design, you have fashion, you have planning, and you have architecture as options. Um, now, what I need you to do is download this Creative Careers booklet. It's a um, very important booklet for you to go through. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to uh, send you the link right. Yeah. the link for this download will be updated um, in the description of this email if it's not updated already. All right. What is so special about SEPT? I got 122 in Nata, and that's why I should opt for SEPT. What does that mean by top colleges? Okay, so Vedansh, you're asking a very good question. All right. Um, Let me do one thing. Let me come back to that topic next. All right. But just to give you an example, like how to get into an architecture school in Karnataka. Now, every state has their own possibilities, but in Karnataka, this is how it is done. Uh, the percentages will vary for each state. All right. Now, what happens here is in Karnataka, 40% of the seats are reserved for Karnataka candidate students. So this is the same case in all states. The percentage may vary. In Maharashtra, it could go up to 65%. In Gujarat, it could go up a little more than that. We don't know, but you know the respective boards will announce that what this uh, what this reservation is. All right. So that's the first thing to be noted. Uh, Now, the advantage of getting through the state quotas is that the fees are regulated. So you are not charged a ridiculous fee. You're charged a reasonable fee, but but limited seats are there. Now, in Karnataka, there is a board called the Comet, which is all the private schools got together and decided to have their own process of seat allocation. Right. So the fees go up accordingly, but it is for the schools that participate in that they offer 40% of their seats um, towards this, and the final 20% goes towards management seats, right? So it goes, and the management seats range from different fees every year. Now, certain schools can say, I'm not giving anything to Comet K, I will do the entire thing myself. All the 40% of the seats, I will give it to Karnataka CET. The balance seats, I will allocate myself, all the 60%. Or certain schools may say, let me take everything. I will follow this process. I will ensure that 40% of the seats are given to Karnataka students, and I will ensure that all my 100% of the seats are fairly distributed. Right. So each college can take their own decision here, depending on the university status. Right. Now, colleges to consider. Now, at a national level, there are a lot of colleges which you can consider. Some of the colleges are SEPT and JJ and SPA, Delhi, Bhopal, Vijayawada, NITs, Trichy, Bhopal, Calcutta, Nagpur. So all these are, very good colleges to be in. But really, what is it that makes an architecture school a good school, right? So Vedansh, you asked a very good question that talks about what makes a school a good school, right? So I'm coming down to this: what makes a school a good school? So what happens is sometimes there are locational advantages, right? When a school is in a, let's say, a metro city, or well connected with you know government projects, and there's a lot of creative activity. Now, for example, SEPT is located in Ahmedabad, and there's a lot of creativity in Ahmedabad itself, right? There's so many schools there, so much of art and architecture appreciation and design is there. So there's a lot of artsy and design oriented activities that go on in Ahmedabad, right? So SEPT being there has a locational advantage. Now, second is competition to get into the institute. Now, the competition to get into any institute increases tremendously when um, it's harder to get in. Now, with Gujarat, or having a lot of reservation for its students, I think there are about 40 seats available to students from outside of Gujarat. So it is, you do have a chance of getting into SEPT. So the competition is good, but why it's important is because the quality of your batchmates will also, proportionally increase because of the competition. Now, the third aspect is the philosophy of the head of the institute. Very important, who is heading the institute and what vision they have for their institute. Very important. I cannot stress on this more. And that's again a very important aspect. Infrastructure is pretty good at most schools, but you know what? The newer schools seem to have developed better infrastructure. If you look at Nite School of Architecture, uh, brilliant building they have, and you know it's very interesting to see how the building itself inspires you to to be more creative. Um, brand name of course is very important. If you graduate from sept or spa, that itself takes you a lot. It's like getting a tag of an iit, right? If I have to give you a comparison. uh, Faculty at the institute, now this is something that why I put faculty and placements last, all right, is because faculty tend to be a little more fluid, while what you need to see is the ability of a head of the institute to attract good faculty and to keep attracting good faculty, right? That is very critical. Now, it's very important that, because faculty will be there, they'll come, they'll work for a few months, few years, and then they'll leave, right? But to be replaced by other good faculty is the key, and that is the strength of the head of the institute, and that's where this becomes critical, right? So so that's one thing. And the last is placements. Now this is something I need everyone to pay a lot of attention to, all right? um so did you all understand these aspects? So please click a yes. Please type in yes if you have understood these aspects, because this is very important. Um, and I'm going to look at a few more questions till then. Uh, right. So Gauri is asking, what about Maharashtra? So Maharashtra has DTE, that's the Department of Technical Education. So you need to go to their website to get the information from there. All right. Um, that's important. What are some of the prominent schools under architecture in India? I've mentioned that. Does Manipal come under it? Yes, Manipal is one of the more prominent schools in Karnataka. But like I said, go through this framework, what I've put in here: location, competition, all of that. All right. Uh, Someone's asking, do they consider JEE scores in CET? Yes, they do consider JEE scores in CET, subject to you clearing Nata. Very important subject. You have to qualify Nata. If you do not qualify Nata, your JEE scores do not mean anything. All right. So please keep that in mind. However, if you do qualify Nata, then your JEE scores play a huge role, a very, very important role in what you're doing. All right. So, so please do that. Spurti is asking, what's the topper score in Nata? Spurti, I've answered this before. Uh, in DQ Labs, it's 148, but otherwise, uh, otherwise it is not announced publicly, so we don't know. All right. So Anupo, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Kyati. So I got 112 in Nata and 96 in boards. Can I get into SEPT? Kyati, I would suggest that you give it a shot. All right, for sure, give it a shot. You are, um, why not? All right. Samarsh is asking, is Wadiyar a good college? Yes, Wadiyar is a fantastic college. You can consider that. It's very, very important. So MMCOA Pune is a good college, and they are saying they will give admission if we have a non-zero, whether we have qualified Nata or not. So Sally, I would request you to go onto the Nata website. Uh, take so I'm going to come back to this, Sally. This is very important. This is on the Nata website. Uh, take the so it's one of the notifications that come here. Go through all these notifications, take this, show it to them, and specifically talk about this particular thing. This line saying aptitude test in architecture conducted by other authorities like JEE shall also be required to qualify Nata in order to be eligible for admission into BARC. All right. So Sally, um, understand that you're looking at options, but I don't want you to get into trouble at a later stage. I've had students in the past who've got into trouble. Colleges have given them admission, and after getting admission, um, when the Council of Architecture, so every student's scores, qualifying exam scores, has to go to the Council of Architecture, and at that point of time, if your score does not sorry does not conform, then it could lead to a very embarrassing situation for you where you have to quit the program in between, right? So please make sure that you clarify this well ahead of time, and then choose your school. I'm sorry, my throat is going a little dry. So do we need to give any other exam apart from JE and Nata for studying abroad in architecture? So Ankita, the process to study abroad does not involve JE or paper 2, JE or Nata at all. The qualifying requirements for schools abroad is completely different. So that is a different topic. Please go through our previous webinars which talk about study abroad programs. All right. Sujita, Sujita asking, are there any private colleges that consider JE paper 2 score as well? All schools consider that. All right. Almost all schools, other than the schools that come under JE itself. Is VIT a good college? So, Sri Raksha, good college or bad college is a very, very perspective driven, uh, it's very subjective. You can ask two students from the same school, is the school good? One student will say, yeah, it's awesome. The other student will say it's horrible. You can ask two faculty from the same school the same question, you'll get differing answers. You can ask alumni the same thing, they'll give you different answers, right? So the only way to really get a good answer to this is if you see what is important to you. Follow these instructions and you will understand whether VIT is a good college for you or not. The other option is subscribe to the DQ Labs YouTube channel. Please click on the subscribe button because we are starting a series called E-Meet Your Architecture Schools. That series is starting shortly. We're going to be inviting the heads of almost all the, of many architecture schools. Now, it's not just important that you have okay 5 schools in mind and you sit only for those 5 webinars. You need to sit for all the webinars because only then you'll get a framework for comparison. You understand what you want from a school, you understand what each school offers, and you can build up what you want in your mind. It's a tough process. You need to do this along with your parents. It's very, very important. All right. um, is BMS a good college? I think so. So I think all colleges are there to satisfy a need. All right. Every college is there for a purpose. All of them have an objective in mind. All of them have a method in mind. All of them they want to do something good and good for you. Right. Now, what you need to do is you need to actually select a school rather than uh, them selecting you. So, what you need is you need to be able to define what you want from a school. You need to be able to see what each school delivers and see whether what you want is being delivered by the school, right? And the only way to do that is to attend as many presentations of various schools as possible, and we that is what we are doing for you. All right, I'm just going to take another 5 minutes of questions. I've got another meeting coming up, so another 5 minutes, that's about it. AIT Bangalore, I'm not sure what AIT Bangalore is, which is AIT. So Dakshayani, Suna, if you could just expand AIT, that would be better. um Gauri is asking about Comet K. When will the application begin? Nobody knows anything this year, so we just have to wait for communication. Between BMS College of Architecture and MS Ramaya, which one is better? You cannot say one is better than the other. Both of them are extremely good. So you know there are all these parameters. When you put these parameters in, so you see which one is located closer to you, right? Maybe that's important to you. Maybe one infrastructure would be better, right? So that's something which you need to uh, do. When KE gives a rank, will they consider the better score between Nata or JE or the average of both, considering we have qualified Nata? Spurti, good question. So um, what KEA will do? They will take your Nata score, they will take your JE paper to score, they will see which one gives you an advantage, and based on that advantage, that score will give you they will consider that whichever gives you an advantage. Okay. um Bhadra is asking, Anup, can students who are not residents of Karnataka also apply through CT or COMEDK for government seats? uh, so Anup, students can apply for COMEDK, not for CET. All right. Do you think the current BARC syllabus is in touch with current trends? So, Liz Gigi John, good question. So that's a personal question. That's a very personal statement. I'm not going to comment on that. But as far as my comment goes, I will tell you that it is very important that you see the curriculum of what Jindal is doing. All right, you need not join the school, but see how they are making a difference to design education, right? uh, See the schools. I'm calling Nitte over. See what Nitte is doing, see what Vodiyar is doing. All of these are brilliant schools, right? You need to see what they're doing and to really understand. Okay, Acharya Institute is a good institute, uh, Dakshayani. Okay. Does SEP consider JEE score? No, SEP does not consider JEE score. All right. I'm going to do that. Okay. Now, another question. Should I book my management seat? All right. This is another very important question that parents and students have been reaching out to me for and asking me about management seats. My perspective on this is if you are in the 70 to maybe 80 category, consider, and if you're specific on a school that you want to join, a specific about few schools, or even if you're not specific, my suggestion is to reach out to schools right now, find out about the management seats option, keep the knowledge ready. All right. Once the CET seats are process is done, then you will be in a much better position to decide. However, if you feel like you're not likely to get a college of your choice during the CET process, I would suggest that you possibly go ahead and book your management seat. Also, try and speak with the college and say, okay, in case I get through CET, in case I get through the same college through CET, would you be willing to convert my management seat into a um, CET seat? So that could possibly help. All right. I hope that helps you. Um, what Karnataka colleges accept JEE scores? All Karnataka colleges accept JEE scores other than UVCE. No, actually, even UEC. All of them would accept JEE scores. Like I said before, the rider is that you have cleared Nata, qualified Nata. The Kshayani Sinha is Sushant School of Architecture. Good, it is outstanding. Um, okay, now questions are getting repeated. Okay, PS University is also good. Uh, PS University, let me try reaching out to them. I don't know if they'll accept my request to be part of this webinar series. If they are, if they do, obliged to be part of it, we'll be happy. But if they don't, there's not much we can do on that. All right. So, yeah. So alternate programs to consider: planning, built environment, interior design, and another one I've yet to put onto this list is digital architecture. So please be aware for that. Important websites, cutoff ranks for SPAs, NITs from 2017 onwards is there. Is there on the DQ Labs website also? So you can go through DQ Labs website. You can go through the other official websites as well. And in case you need to connect with us, you can connect with us as well. All right. Now, at the bottom of the screen, you will see the DQ Labs Instagram page. All right. Uh, if y'all can take the time out right now to follow us on Instagram, right? That is DQ Labs underscore Bangalore. That's a handle on Instagram. It would be great if you can follow us right now. I'll give you a minute. I'll extend my webinar to 6:10, so another 3 minutes. If you can follow us on Instagram and type in over here saying followed or following, all right? That is very, very critical, because that will, you know it will keep you updated. Whatever activities we are doing, we are updating it on Instagram, so it's very important that you'll follow us there. All I'm trying to do is to see that y'all are updated, and you'll get the notifications whenever we post it. All right. Um so if y'all are following the DK Labs channel on Instagram, please type type in following. Okay. Commit K registration process. How is UVCE? UVCE, IMPU, UVCE is a government college, so it's bound by the bureaucracy of the government, of any government-run institution. So you need to really evaluate UVCE um, before you decide on that. Vodiyar is a part of the webinar series. Yes. Can students from outside Maharashtra apply to JJ School of Architecture? Yes. Um, how to apply to RV School or College of Architecture, Bangalore, Gauri? You can either directly approach them, and they will, they will be happy to give you more information about that. We are trying to get them to do a webinar with us as well. We'd hopefully we'd get RV to participate in the webinar. All right. Um, right. That's all we have time for this today. I hope I've answered all your questions. I hope you've enjoyed this webinar as much as I've enjoyed delivering it to you. I see a few people who are following us on Instagram. Thank you so much for following us. And those of you who have not followed us on Instagram, please, please, um, do take the trouble to follow us. Uh, .com/. Let me type in. Let me just try and put in the link over here. Um, okay. So thank you all for having the patience to attend this webinar. All right. Around what time will ranks be released? Mansa, that's going to take some time. It's not going to happen so soon. We just need CET, or the Karnataka KEA to inform us. All right. But uh, if y'all enjoyed this webinar, give me a thumbs up. Give me a yes. Say enjoyed this webinar. It's very important that that I know that you have enjoyed this. Give us a like. Um, write in the comments. If you have further questions, write in the comments. Once this live stream is out, you can write in the comments. I will respond to your comments always. All right. Thank you so much to all of you for taking the trouble to be here. I hope I've been able to answer your questions. If I've not answered your questions, um, those who satisfactorily, please reach out. If you're happy with this webinar, I'm happy. If you're not happy, please let me know what you're not happy with, and we'll probably create a new webinar on that. Okay. Thank you so much. Stay home and stay safe. Okay. Goodbye.